Hi, I'm Haedyn Mickelson, and I'm up next on the Quad Radio Roadshow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Quad Radio Roadshow. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Haedyn Mickelson, and this is quadradio.net, the voice of the ATV racing nation that you've tuned into here today, my friends. And, of course, continuing our roadshow from Phoenix Racing headquarters in beautiful Salisbury, North Carolina, with the Phoenix Racing Honda team, ATV, and two-wheelers. As we see in the background, a whole slew of those. That's just a small arsenal of those. Small arsenal you see over the shoulders there of Haedyn, some ATVs on occasion, I think. But, hey, man, the important part is you see that Honda racing, man. I mean, wow. We've talked about this. This is something that's been in the works for a long time. But, Haedyn Mickelson, you are a true blue Honda Red Rider now, my friend.
Yeah, it feels really good. We've been working for this for the last 3 years. David's been pushing super hard. He's had the Honda Semi. He's had all these Honda signs, everything red in here. He's been fully committed to getting this. He's shown Honda that he is fully in for it. And they finally stepped in and gave the full factory for.
And it's been something that's been coming for a few years. I know David had the idea several years ago, like say about 3 years, and he said, I'm going to try to get some interest over here. We're going to try to get some support back. And though he kept hitting a lot of walls, he also kept, maybe a closed door here, one would open up over here. And the next thing they're talking about two-wheel efforts. Last year they had a Supercross and I think some arena cross efforts, if I'm not mistaken, on the two-wheel side of things, some outdoor stuff that went on. And, of course, the ATV motocross side of things. But last year, a lot of things transpired. And this year, as we open up 2019, man, I mean, your teammates with these guys are running the Kicker Arena Cross. We've got East Coast Supercross. Going to be running outdoor motocross. We've got the ATV moto guys. You guys are doing both. You got the GNCC two-wheel team that is here with you now with Austin Lee and Andrew DeLong. And now you guys are ATV motocross and GNCC. I mean, so much has changed in the last couple of years, and it's all, to me, seems to getting better.
Yeah, for sure. There's it's pretty surreal thinking that I'm teammates with people like Jace Owen and Freddie Noren, who are these guys that, you see on TV. Like Freddie used to be on the HRC Honda team. He's from Sweden. Like you've seen him before, and to be teammates with him and to be able to just talk with him on a regular basis about training, practicing, all that other different kind of stuff that really only those top guys really have a good idea of what needs to be done and what they did to get to the spot they're in. Just being able to be a part of that is really cool. Something that, I don't think too many quad riders ever really even think about will happen. So that's really cool. And then bringing on these guys and the GNCC stuff, it's really cool to have a part of that. That's something that I've never really looked into much because I've always been motocross, but these last couple of years I've been doing GNCC and kind of getting into it. And it's cool to finally be able to know and be able to talk with some of those guys, the top dirt bike guys, and even some of the top ATV guys just, around here, riding with them too. And, it's just mind-boggling to think that, just a few years ago, I was just, riding locals and just hanging out with friends at the track, just looking up to people like John Natale and Joel Hetrick and all these people. And now, I'm friends with all of them and becoming one of them.
You are, yeah, no doubt. And it's neat. I was looking at a poster here in the shop from back in the Root River days. Root River's a big supporter of Quad Radio, and we certainly appreciate that. And ATV racing in general. Man, you guys were so little when you started this stuff, man.
Yeah, thinking back to it, we really weren't much. It all started with my dad wearing Rich's house. That's where it all started, and That's where we met Rich Gillette and Alex Gillette and got them into it. And Rich went all out. We created this team, and it just got bigger and bigger. And then we got into the national scene, and Rich really built up the sport. And now he's kind of, the last couple of years, he's kind of handed it off.
And a lot of people have picked things up, and obviously we see the efforts with Phoenix Racing here. I mean, 3 years ago, man, I'm sure you had no idea what to expect. You had this dream ride as a kid. I mean, literally with working with Root River. I mean, you guys had the coolest of the greatest things going on. I mean, and then all of a sudden everything changed, and you not only changed teams, but your whole life uprooted. You moved from, what was it, Minnesota down to North Carolina, and life has certainly taken a huge turn in a good direction, it seems like.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. 3 years ago, David come up to me at Redbud, and he said that he heard Root River was going to downsize, and Rich wasn't going to be able to afford to have all the riders. And he told me, if you ever need a spot to ride, I got a spot under the tent. Me and Grayson were good friends. And, honestly, couldn't really process that, switching everything. But it's turned out to be, absolutely amazing. And I didn't think it was going to get better than Root River. And somehow we've upgraded.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I mean, even then, I mean, when you thought about it, did you see it coming here? I mean, I'm sure that David was like, I've got these ideas. This is what I'm trying to do. Did you expect to see it come to the fruition that we're seeing right now? And I don't even think it's ripe yet. That's the thing.
No, I honestly did not expect any of this. A couple years before I started riding for these guys, I spent a week down here with Grayson, just hanging out. We're friends at the track, and he invited me to come down 4th of July weekend and just hang out. And I got to see their old race shop. It was just like a little 2-stall car garage with a little apartment on it. And, I kind of looked around, and I was like, there's fit about 6 of these in our Root River shop. And, but I could see it in David's eyes that he really, really wanted to be, top dog and just have everything. I know that he said that, he's been sponsored by Kawasaki, Yamaha. He's had all those rides when he was growing up, and the one ride he never got was a Honda ride. So that's kind of where the Honda comes from.
Wow. So it kind of spills over from his days and his aspirations of where he wanted to be. And the cool thing is, I mean, he's given this opportunity to you guys, and I don't think it's anything that you look lightly at. I mean, like talking to your brother, he says, this is my job.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's turned into that. It just used to be go to the weekends for fun, go to school during the week, and just keep that, that was the cycle. And now it's turned into, it's a job, but it's still fun. And it hasn't turned into feeling like it's a job, which is good, because I know once that happens, everybody seems to kind of fizzle out when that happens. So that's good that it hasn't felt like a job, but it is a job, which is really, really cool. It's just hard to think that.
Yeah. When it's this much fun, it's hard to believe it's a job. And I have to sometimes pinch myself, to be honest with you, to say, am I really doing this? And it's nothing that I even wanted to do. Just kind of things just happen the way. And I fell in love with it 25 years ago. This will be my 25th full season. 26 years ago was probably my first race, but 25 years I've been doing this as my life. And this paid the bills, not real well, but it's got me to where I'm at anyway. I got a daughter through school, and she's raised at 19. I got a son that's 11, and and I smile every day. And I think it's all due to racing, and I think you're probably the same way. But with that, man, the happiness comes successes, and with success sometimes maybe not so much success, not as much as you want. Let's talk a little bit about how the career is going. You stepped up into the XE1 Pro, or no, excuse me, the Pro class, AMA Pro ATV class. We'll talk about GNCC stuff, but anyway, in just a minute. But the ATV MX side, you stepped up. You did what, Pro Am last year and AMA Pro ATV, right?
Last year was my first year in Pro class and my second year in Pro Am, I think. And, you know, it went really well. I managed to get the Rookie of the Year in the Pro class and struggled a little bit with the mental side of it. It was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be. But hopefully we can get over that hump this year and start pushing towards the front and, you know, show the speed where I know I can go.
Now, you know, here's a question I've got for you. You know, you step up into the Pro class, and don't get me wrong, man. I mean, you're a top Pro-Am guy. You're vying for wins, racing for wins every race. Did you expect that when you made that step into the Pro class, that you were going to find a little easier success possibly in the Pro-Am class? And what do you think were the challenges in racing both the Pro and the Pro-Am class?
Well, the biggest challenge was in my head, I would have to go slower in Pro class and kind of preserve myself because I really wanted to do good in Pro-Am. You know I had the speed to win every single race. I knew I had what it took to win every single race. And, you know, racing the Pro class, it just takes so much out of you, you know, those long motos, those qualifying sessions, and just mentally it's draining, you know, just lining up next to people like Chad and Joel and Thomas, just lining up next to those guys, it kind of psychs you out. And I don't know if it kind of like fogs your mind, kind of, you know, you're not thinking, you're more kind of almost worried more about what they're doing. You don't want to mess them up because, you know, they're all gunning for that first place and you don't want to be the person to get in their way, and, you know, they will move you. You don't want to have to be laying on the side of the track because you're in somebody's way. But, yeah, the hardest part was just the beating myself up in Pro class and then trying to go to Pro-Am. So, I didn't do as good in Pro class as I know I could have, just because I was pacing myself and saving it up for Pro-Am. And you could tell just watching me when I would go all out in Pro class and want to do good, you know, when I felt like I had good speed, I would push. And then when it come to Pro-Am the next day, you know, I would be, you know, I'd still be top 5, but I wouldn't be up there with Brandon and Alan. You know, those guys would pull away and I'd be sitting back there, you know, 3rd and 4th, and not where I know I could be. That's just because I tried so hard in Pro class and kind of beat myself up.
So what does next year hold? Are you going to be focusing on just one?
Yeah, next year I'm doing just Pro class so I can focus on that. So I can get everything I got on Saturday all day long, and then Sunday I can relax and just start healing my body again for the next week of training and riding.
Well, that's not a bad way to approach it, that's for sure. And like you say, that gives you the opportunity to go all out on Saturdays for you. Really good perspective, I think, that you've got on it. And, of course, we've got a lot to talk about. You're going to be racing GNCC next year, and we'll talk a little bit about the past GNCC season or two with Haedyn Mickelson here when Quad Radio returns here on the Quad Radio Roadshow.
Quad Radio is made possible in part by Root River Racing, supporters of amateur and professional racing on the local, regional, and national levels. And Root River Racing invites you to follow their Facebook page and the D6 Ultimate Quad Series Facebook page, where you can keep up to date with one of the nation's premier local championships.
Here with our sponsored rider, Walker Fowler, championship again. Just tell me a little about our relationship that you have with DP.
My relationship with DP Brakes, man, goes back from literally I believe 2002 or 2003 when I started running national stuff. And owner Larry Mills, we kind of were in contact with him even before that. So All our youth dirt bikes at the time, KTM 65s, the Cobras back in the day, 300EXs, Raptor 250s, YFZ 450s, and now in a YXZ 1000R. He's always had us covered, and it's just been, stopping has never been an issue in my world.
B&R Motorsports Racing Engines and Suspension is a family-owned and operated business with over 15 years' experience working on motorcycles, ATVs, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles. Striving to provide the best customer service, products, and prices around. Check out bnrmotorsports.com. The website has an extensive inventory of parts for the YFC 450RX, the Raptor 125, Can-Am, side-by-side, wheels and parts, and also shocks, shock parts, and springs, and more. That's bnrmotorsports.com. Impact Solutions is your U.S. factory-authorized Elka suspension headquarters. Located in Little Hocking, Ohio, call Impact Solutions today for service, parts, warranty, sales, and technical support. Call 740-989-2026. And be sure and like them on Facebook. Impact Solutions.
And welcome back to the Quad Radio Roadshow. Rodney Tomlin here along with Haedyn Mickelson here from the Phoenix Racing Honda Race Shop in Salisbury, North Carolina, as we get set for the 2019 season, looking at ATV motocross and the GNCC season coming up with us. And Haedyn, we mentioned there and briefly about you racing GNCC, but you've been an avid ATV moto guy since you were a little kid. Last couple of seasons, though, you've tried your hand in the off-road world too, huh?
Yeah, it all started a few years back when I got asked to do the Heartland Challenge. And the first year I ever did it, I did it on a sport quad. And it was fun, but I found myself wanting to go a lot faster than I actually could in the woods. I hit a lot of trees, made a lot of mistakes. And the next year, I got asked to do it, but on a 4x4. And I had never rode a 4x4 before. Even coming up to the race, I went down there a week early. I rode for about an hour and a half, and that was all the more I got on it. And then it came to the race, and I felt like the 4x4 is what needs to be rode in the woods. I feel like sport quads for an MX track and a 4x4 is for the woods, at least for my preference, because it just, it feels like you're supposed to be running over trees and getting through all the tough stuff on the 4x4.
So you're kind of like a mauler then. I mean, when you're going through there, line choice, if there's a small tree in the way, that tree is just part of the line, right?
Exactly.
You race like me in the woods.
Yeah, if I see a tree that's blocking a line and it's small enough, it's nice to be able to just run over it and have no issue. And even if you do hit a tree that you're not able to move, to just be able to put it in reverse and back up and not have to get off and exert a bunch of energy is really nice.
So obviously there's a big difference in moto to off-road. How big a difference is it climbing off of a sport ATV onto a utility style 4x4 ATV?
It definitely is a big difference, but I try to make it like as small of a difference as I can, if that makes sense. Like I still try to ride the 4x4 like a sport quad, which I know most people do not. But when I watch people like Landon Wolf, I try to ride it kind of like him, where he looks like he's really able to control it. And he still aggresses the corners and stuff like as if it's a sport quad, which I know that's kind of what I relate to, obviously. So that's kind of what I do where, I lean off the bike a lot when I know it probably doesn't do anything on the 4x4, considering it weighs like 1,000 pounds and it's going to do what it wants to do. But I still do it just because that's how I feel comfortable. And I don't know, I just really enjoy it.
That's great. I mean, it's nice to be able to enjoy what you do and to be able to find another thing in the same discipline like that. I mean, you're in a pretty unique situation for a lot of people,
Yeah, I know there's just not really anybody else that goes from MX on a sport quad to then GNCC on a 4x4. But it's fun, I'm used to the MX, which is really high intensity. I'm pushing as hard as I can for 20 minutes. I see everybody in front of me. I see the people behind me. And I know I got to hit my lines every single time. If I make one little mistake, and that could be the race. And GNCC, you know, it's a little bit more relaxed. I'm able to go out and ride, kind of do my own thing. And if I'm riding good, I know I can be at the front. I don't necessarily have to see those guys right in front of me to go that fast. You know, I like going my pace in the woods. I know how fast I can go without hitting trees, and sometimes I don't know how fast I can go without hitting trees, so I do hit some trees still.
I understand that completely. But I got to ask you, which one do you like best?
It's tough. It honestly depends on the track, you know. Like I love the motocross, and I'll forever do it. You know, it'll forever be my love. But the 4x4 racing in the woods, it's a unique feeling, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, it's maybe not.
Do you not feel the pressure?
Yeah, the pressure to me, anyways, is just it's very minimal compared to MX. You know, I've been doing MX for so long, and people kind of have these, you know, standards, and I got standards for myself. I've gone all these years. I've trained for so long. I got a goal, and if I don't hit that goal, I feel really bad about it. Where 4x4, you know, I'm still just getting used to it in the woods, and I'm kind of just going out there and seeing what happens. Kind of come into each weekend with a different, you know, with a new mindset, not a different mindset, but a new one. You know, I want to go out there and just do the best I can without getting hurt and without causing damage to other people.
So do you see it becoming stressful if success really starts coming in droves? I mean, if you start seeing more and more success, do you think that you could see the pressures that you see on the ATV moto side of things?
Maybe down the line, but even this year still, I'm running the 4x4 pro class, so I'm making that step up from the A class. So I'm really just going to go in. I really don't know what to expect. I've gotten pretty good in the overall a few races. You know, I've gotten top 10 a few times. But even those races, I just come in telling myself I'm just going to go have fun and ride to the best of my ability.
And I realize the competition level in that class is high. There's a lot of guys with a lot of experience in that class and have been doing it a little bit longer. But do you ever have thoughts of grandeur of possibly winning a 4x4 pro title in GNCC?
I think Cunningham would have to leave before.
Well, Cunningham's gone. I think from what I unless something's changed, I think Landon told me that Kevin is going to be doing some other things. He may come every once in a while, and I could be completely off mark on that. I may have totally misunderstood what somebody was telling me, but there is a possibility that Kevin might be there. Then you got Landon and a few other guys to worry about, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you know, it's as soon as one person leaves, somebody's always going to step up. But I think I do have the ability to run at least top 5 in it.
Well, let me ask you this. Kevin's an older guy. I mean, obviously he's good. He's fast. He does what he does. What do you think that he does that makes him stand out so much or be so much better, I guess, on the 4x4?
You know, honestly, it seems like a lot of the guys that are fast on the 4x4 stuff are older. And I don't know if it's just experience or if they got some little secret that nobody else knows between them. But I think experience is a huge thing with the 4x4. You know, but there is some younger people like Dwight and Landon who are, you know, both younger, and especially Dwight. But, you know, he's figured something out, and I'm trying my best right now to figure out what they have, what they've got figured out. And, you know, once I think I'm getting close, because every race I do feel better. I am moving up, like in the overall. I started out the year last year. I think my first race, you know, I got a 3rd in the A class and like a 22nd or something overall. And by the end of the year, you know, if I didn't break down, I was getting top 10 overalls.
Wow.
So that felt really good. And, you know, I hope I can, you know, stay on track with where I ended last year.
that's a good hope. It really is. It's a realistic hope as well, and that's impressive. And when you look at the big picture, being able to run in the top 20, I think in that morning classes is pretty competitive. I mean, because you're competing against everybody. I mean, you're the 4x4 pros. You were on a 4x4A last year.
Yeah.
You were 4x4A. You were competing against all the 4x4 pros. The WXC, which I don't care what anybody says, those girls are.
Oh, they're fast.
They're fast.
Yeah.
Those girls know how to go through the woods. There's no doubt about it. And it's not just one of them. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got that going on. And then you've got all the other sport ATV classes that you've got to contend with. I mean, there's a few guys out there that are really fast in those morning classes.
Yeah, the young bucks out there are really fast.
Like the schoolboys.
Yeah. You can hear the schoolboys coming when they're up behind you. You know, they're always pinned and just clutching it through the corners. So when you hear them coming, you know they're on a mission. And you know, like the WXC starts in front of us last year, and it was always my goal to, you know, try to always get to like the top 3 or top 4 of them. You know, I'm good friends with Megan Shepard, who is my teammate back on Root River, and she was always right up in there. And so that was always my goal, is try to either get past her or have her in my sights by the end of the race.
Well, that's a pretty good goal, man. I mean, and she's fast too. She really found her legs in the woods, I think, the last couple of years as well. And just a neat thing. So did you find the transition from moto to woods very difficult at all?
Yeah, it took me a while to get used to it, because, you know, the riding styles are completely different. The mindset's completely different. And
you have to race for 2 solid hours.
Yeah, the way you race for, you know, time is different.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. So obviously, good things for you. I think I can see that you've had good times, and I'm expecting big things out of you this season as well. I hope to see you up there battling for overall wins and everything for the morning and in the 4x4 pro class. I think that'll be pretty neat. With that, let's back over to the ATV motocross side of things. With 2019, we see what your hopes are for GNCC. We know that you're going to be running the pro class. You're coming off of top rookie of the year in AMA Pro ATV class. A lot of expectations. You think a lot of people were putting expectations on you for this year?
I kind of hope so. I want to prove to people that I can do good in the pro class. I've been training really hard this year. Getting to ride a lot more with Joel and like my brother and Grayson, and just a lot of really fast guys. It helps a lot. And
you know, watching you at the Kicker Arena Cross, man, you guys really make the indoor look easy on an ATV. I got to say, nothing against the 2 dudes that were riding the Suzukis last night that were your guys' competition, but you and Noah. Wow. I think you hit those whoops better than a lot of the pro guys did in the arena cross there. What's it feel like to race in front of an indoor stadium crowd? Even though you guys aren't the premier show, what's it feel like to race in front of a crowd like that?
It's awesome. Just when we get done and when we cross the finish line, like you can look up into the stands and there's people on their feet cheering, and it's surreal to see that crowd. And then, you know, when the pro dirt bikes are out there, it almost seems like more people enjoy the ATV when we're battling, because I don't know, well, with me and my brother, you know, we're not afraid to hit each other, and, you know, we kind of make it a show. And when me and him are racing each other, we're always pushing each other to the next level. So people see that, and I think they can kind of tell that we're really going at it, and they really like that. It's a really cool feeling to see all those people cheering for the ATVs.
Well, I got to say, man, the way you guys were skimming through the whoops and everything last night, and the rhythm sections, the way you were hitting it, very impressive stuff, man. I got to tip my hat to you. I'm really excited for what this year brings for all of you. I mean, I think just the positive impact of what's taken place in the last couple of years, coupled with the talent that you guys have and the work that you're putting in, I don't think that you can expect anything but good things out of 2019.
I really hope so. That's what we're working for.
Well, I mean, you can't rest on those morals. There's no doubt about it. You got to keep working. But I think you guys are on the right track. You got a good training program. You've got the the workout room here in the shop. You guys still hit that a lot?
Yeah, for sure. And now we're actually going down to Club MX and training down there, which is cool to kind of break grounds there too.
What? Club MX four-wheelers are going to a two-wheel training camp and facility down there?
Yeah, it's really cool. And they're only about an hour and a half away from the shop here. And the owner of it, the founder of it, actually is from St. Charles, Minnesota, which is like 10 miles from my hometown of Eyota, Minnesota, which is kind of crazy. Like a lot of the guys down there are from Minnesota, which is, it's pretty cool.
So you had an in then, just being from Minnesota then, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's funny. When we went down there the other week, I told them that we were originally from Minnesota, and they're like, one of the trainers said, "Dang, is everybody that's from Minnesota just come down to club to train?" And it's pretty funny. It's probably half the people there all have a 507 number, which is southeastern Minnesota. It's kind of cool.
Well, you felt at home, Mike. You feel kind of home down there then, huh?
Yeah, my neighbor that races dirt bikes, he's down there. Another kid that is from Rochester, Henry Miller, he races pro class. He trains down there. His parents own a liquor store in Eyota. So it's kind of cool having, kind of like almost like a family atmosphere, I guess you would say.
Right off the bat, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty neat, man. I mean, wow, what an amazing small world we have, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. I'm glad that those guys are accepting of the ATVs and in the Phoenix race team down there. I know. I think it's a great. I think what we've got the two-wheel, the XC guys, two-wheel XC guys training there, the ATV guys training there, the arena cross guys and supercross guys. They got time to change. You guys have got some pretty good resources. There's no doubt about it. So, Haedyn, at this point, it's all up to you. It's all on your plate now, man. I mean, you've been given all the tools. Now let's see what you can do with them.
Exactly, David. I know in David's head, he's thinking no excuses for anybody that's on this team.
Yeah, there aren't any, man. Any parting shots? Social media. Let's talk a little bit about that. You got social media? People follow along?
Yeah, mainly on Instagram, and also I got an athlete page on Facebook. They're both Haedyn135. I post on there quite a bit. You can keep up with everything that's happening around the shop here and with our training and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome, man. So Haedyn135, that's on Facebook and as well on Instagram.
Yep.
And you follow that, and you're going to keep in the tune. Any parting shots that you might want to offer to the folks before we let you go in words of wisdom? Well,
I just got to send a special thank you to David Eller here. He has made all this happen. He's put a lot of faith into us and me, and hopefully I can show him what he wants to see.
Well, I hope that you do. I think you've shown a lot already. Words of wisdom that you might want to pass along to any other up-and-coming riders or wannabe riders?
Just have fun. That's really what got me here, is just having fun and wanting to be on the top. That's the main thing. You can work for it, but if you don't love it and you're not having fun, it's not going to be worth it. So just keep it fun.
Couldn't have better words from a man named Goldilocks than that right there, my friends. And of course, I love the hair, dude. I know we talk about that a lot, and I think the style that you got, the racing, you're a very unique individual. I look forward to seeing your successes in both the woods and on the moto track, and I can't wait to see what 2019 holds for you, man.
Well, thank you. I hope I can meet and exceed all your standards.
Well, my expectations for you are very high. I think you'll do just fine. Hey, that's Haedyn Mickelson. I'm Rodney Tomlin, and this Quad Radio Roadshow.